Collective. Welcome back to another pick a card reading. My name is Felicia. Welcome back to another video. Today we're getting into what is your ex? How does your ex view you? How's your ex feeling about you? If you do not know me, my name is Felicia again. I am a human and civil rights advocate, and I run a nonprofit in women's health called DIVAS Can Manifest org. You can find all the information about us down below. You can access more of our high honors in the description box below as well. Like following my book that has been getting honored by amazing musicians like Ed Sheeran, Beyonce, and Aminati Music, and so many more. Also follow a Renaissance movement over at Instagram. There we are getting fit, working with women and children in sports and at risk. We are so excited about the bindings and the contracts where we have reached the final stage of our manifestation, and we are verified, valid, and effective. So we're so happy to be here, and there's a lot to celebrate, but there's also inward and caution. So let's get into it. I really greatly appreciate you guys for being here. If you did not know, Felicia Tarot is a discovery channel, and it is a full integration of technology, and that is our mission. So I hope that you guys bear with me as we finish a lot of paperwork and a lot of studying to be done, a lot of work to be done. More information coming soon about legal matters and criminal and civil cases in my personal life, as well as some of our members of our community, like Kim Kardashian, Ed Sheeran, Elon Musk. And we'd officially like to welcome everyone to the collective. It has been a hard and trying time, and there has been discord, dissension that cannot be undone. But this has been an extremely traumatizing experience for not just me, but other members of our community that have been struggling with mental illness, psychological disorders, crime, or some other kind of adversity and illness. So I want to recenter us, okay? After reaching this prison milestone, the officials, the authority, and the military are here. Donald Trump is here as well. So this is a innovation and something that has not been done or seen before. So we ask you guys to be very patient and to be kind, and I just want to invite you guys to recenter as we get started on Chakra Alignment Get Me Bodied Series 5. We are, returning to center and trying to release the negativity of these imprisonments and other violations that have been going on in our community, like the Epstein files, as well as other swindling thieves. Okay, so but without further ado, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I might edit the description box to give you guys a little bit more about my journey to becoming a JD PhD candidate, and more about this docket at Felicia Tarot and how you can follow along. It's actually very powerful and so amazing to watch if you are in tune with the subliminal. This is a silent warfare where we are forcing these officials and violators to break the silence, and we're doing so with a full technology integration. This is a painful irony max, but sweet results await. Let's get into today's overhead selection. Group 1, how do your exes view you guys? Group 1, you are Trina with Tenacity. This has come out so much on the channel. Group 2 is Cardi B, Personality. That also comes out a lot on the channel. And then we also have Foxy Brown with Attitude, which is actually the first time this card has come out on the channel, and I'm so excited because I'm just like, why does the same freaking cards come out. That's super synchronistic and can also help us find a pattern. But let's get into it. I love you guys. Let's get into it, and I'll see you guys in your selection. Hi, group 1. Welcome to yourself. Welcome to yourself. Yes, welcome to yourself, group 1. Welcome to your selection. So you chose Trina with tenacity. So I immediately heard that you like to stay to yourself. So this is somebody that they were very, very wrong about you. Okay, so I think that the reason why this relationship broke down, or the reason why the relationship didn't work out, is because you guys have a difference in values and lifestyles. This person could be very social, or they're really involved in a network that you used to share, or they're really involved in a network that's in a complete ruin by this point. Okay, now I definitely think that you and this person have fond memories. You might even have securities, financial securities with one another. But I think that this person expected you to take a same type of, like, especially if you were younger than this person, or they were guiding you in a way, perhaps for a period. I feel like this was like a momentary uniting. I think that you guys have been tenacious and have maintained your security, but I think that you ultimately learned that there's a big difference in lifestyle and value. Some of you guys, you decided the reason why the network became a ruin, it's like something where you decided that this was not what you wanted anymore. Like, it was something that where you unlocked an important key, where you learned a major or fundamental lesson. They may have also contributed to you actualizing yourself and they may have supported your growth in a way. But especially after like realizing that you might have some fundamental differences in values and beliefs, I think that you just truly do whatever you want to do. Okay. Because these differences mean that you guys you might take on different perspectives and different experiences. But I think that the relationship is indeed tenacious. It's just that the romantic part may have broken down because you just did not, maybe you outgrew the position, outgrew the role. Maybe, they could have started cheating, okay? But you were like, I'm just gonna stay because I have my money and stuff like that. I have my security. Some of you guys, this person has your artwork or something that really cannot be broken down. Okay. So, but I think that they projected that you would take a different trajectory. And I think that that's why they binded themselves to you in the first place, is that they were really, really wrong about you. That you did not take this trajectory. I also feel like you guys were not as social as this person was. So this network of socializing and things of that nature, it was not happening well. Okay, it was not going well. Okay. This person feels like a Gemini, Aquarius, Libra. This person's name could start with the letter J or R or G. Okay, or the letter A. So, let's see how is your ex viewing you, or an Aquarius, Pisces, Scorpio, Libra. Okay. I definitely feel like these romantic partners, they iced you out. Okay, they definitely gave you lots of gifts. They've showered you with gifts and affection. But I think that a mature intimacy is when you learn that kisses are not promises, and that flowers fade. And so, especially when they started, some of them, they could have started cheating, and you just realized that it wasn't about, not to take it personally, but you guys just definitely you might have started growing apart, or you didn't want to be involved in the socializing that they were involved in. Okay. So I don't think that they were trying to cheat because they didn't love you, but I just think that they had a lot of friends that you just did not feel like engaging with. That's what I'm hearing. I have a lot of friends, or you didn't really like their friends, and some of them, they saw you go off into a new network where you started learning something new, and you loved this person's friends, like something where you loved you fell in love with their team, or you fell in love with their friends. You know, the friends love you because you all are, you guys, you don't do too much or something like that. Okay, somewhere. Something where you don't do too much, okay? So tell me about this person, okay, this ex. Yeah, some of you guys met this person when you were a child. We have the false person, and then we have the gift, okay? So I kind of was getting that. This person you were with, they, you know, you guys were together because of financial security. And I think that when you were a child, this person saw that you had a special gift. And so this is the reason why they attached onto you. You know, this, you're learning, this person was false. But I think that because you guys had so much, you know, you built up so much security with one another, I think that you just decided to, you know, it's a relationship. You know, it might have been a, I don't know, something with this false person. They could have done something violating, okay? But for others, it doesn't feel as bad because you guys have like a lot of security with one another, and you fulfill your purpose in this dynamic. The relationship is tenacious because you met this person when you were a child. But I think that, or you've been with this person for a long time, or you may have a child with this person. But some of you, you know, this person was with you because of your gift or the gifts that you gave them, you know, and vice versa. This was not, you know, this was not actually a true love, is what I'm hearing, okay? And I think that some of you guys have psychic gifts. So I think that you were able to grow a awareness around this person. I also feel like you may have discerned, you know, over time, especially as you grew older and your prefrontal cortex developed and you reached full cognition. Some of you started to realize, you know, you honed your gift more, is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing the more you hone your gift, the more you discern that this person is a false person, okay? So I think that this person, they hide behind a lot of, you know, the financial security that you guys have with one another. They give you a lot of gifts. They hide behind all the gift giving that they give you, okay? I'm hearing a special necklace that some of them may have given you, lots of dress and clothing. But some of you guys, you're learning that this person was around just to chase clout around your gift, okay? Because they see that you stepped onto the scene and something about you, you stood out. You had a special gift that made you stand out. You did something innovative. And I think that you showed this person a big heart. I think that, but some of them, they actually, what was false about this partner is so interesting. I think that they started degrading, okay, or they stopped. It's like, you know, there was a lot of sorrow in this relationship with this person, and I think that, you know, they just started degrading, especially if they were cheating. This was a slow and painful death with this person, okay? Some of you guys, they did this, you know, they were older than you, okay? And you were a child or you were younger than them, but you've had a lot of sorrow. So, you know, they made a lot of different excuses as to why it was okay to cheat on you, as to why it was okay to hurt you, by making it up with a lot of gifts. But this person truly, they were either violating you in some type of way to create sorrow, or they were just around for security, or that the security that you guys built with one another. Like some of them, they literally just came around you to chase clout off of your name, okay? Because they saw that you had a gift or something innovative that you were doing that made you stand out, okay? And so, especially some of them, when they got wind, some of you got a really, really high honor from someone, okay, as a child, in the environment, maybe an older woman or older man or a public figure, celebrity, someone of an important status, a very important person, gave you a high honor. And when they got news of a high honor, they tried to, like I said, they tried to bandwagon off of the clout that your name has been getting, okay? Because you have that gift, okay? And I think that now that you're not a child, they're seeing that you have very deep and tenacious relationships now, because you're fully developed with your cognition. You have a lot more free will in this matter as well, because some of you guys, you just got binded to this person because you were a child and they started to create your wealth, is what I'm hearing. They started to create your wealth or give you a lot of gifts. But they had a hidden motivation in doing this. Some of them, they had a hidden motivation in doing this, or you realized that they were not deep and tenacious, okay? When you realized that they were not deep and tenacious, or they destroyed securities or something like that, this is like what helped. This is like, if they were destroying securities, that means that they were definitely like degrading, and their mask has started falling off. The more you honed your gift, or the more you matured, you started to realize that they were not deep and tenacious. And they may have made these excuses as to why they were behaving certain ways. And I think the situation could be triggering for you, but I think in hindsight it doesn't mean as much to you, okay? Especially now that you have manifested healthier relationships, you have even greater security, you have even deeper and more tenacious relationships that they can never even compare to. But I think that you started to discern that these letters that they were sending you were superficial and shallow, especially when some of them started honoring you after someone else started honoring you, okay? Some of them, they started to act like, you showed up with a gift or innovation or a cause, and this person, they had a hidden motivation in getting involved with you. They were not actually a believer in this cause. Some of them, this is someone who tries to act like they are all about natural bodies or something like that, but then you caught them with a plastic surgery. Some of these people, they were with you for wealth, but then they may have gotten an offer for greater wealth, and that lets you know that they were not deep and tenacious, that it was literally just about wealth. And they used you to get, to boost their economic status, and then tried to, I'm hearing they destroyed securities with you, they tried to leave you without securities to go explore something that, where they got another offer of wealth. Some of you guys, you realize if they got another offer of wealth somewhere else, that might mean that they are involved in illegal activity with you. And this is why you guys have been facing a lot of sorrow. Is because this person, because of wealth, they have been a cloud chasing, social climbing, fame hungry person. And when you started to mature and got better relationships, I'm even getting like something where you may have run into a problem, and this person was they were like not count, you could not count on them. They were not reliable. Some of them, they blocked you out of the blue. They may have stopped sending letters. Something that involves a pen, okay, a pen or something like that. Some of them, if they sold out for hire, if they sold out for, for wealth, or they tried to, I'm hearing they tried to abandon the relationship or destroy your securities so that they can try to give it to someone else for a wealth increase. Some of them, you replaced them, or you got you scaled in a massive way that totally put this person in a coffin. I'm hearing that your fortune was greater than whatever they tried to buy into or something like that, okay? But let's get more. How does this activate group 1, okay? I really just don't think that you guys were into each other, but you guys were together for financial security is what I'm hearing. Yeah, they definitely see you as a goddess. Like, some of y'all, you know, some of you, the reason why especially if this was like, if they were attached to you for a cause, they could have been trying to act like they were all about something natural, but then they sold out for a plastic surgery or for some kind of superficial pursuit. But you were like but there's like a force of people that hate you because you're a natural goddess, okay? The feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. Like, they definitely see you as a goddess, and so they have a lot of sorrow behind, you know, and regret in doing in what they did with you, because after you left the relationship, they see that you got a massive scale by doing something as an angel or a monk. They literally saw that you were helping people in need with no expectation of anything in return. And you just gave so many gifts. So that was not, like, you guys have a difference in lifestyle and values. So some of you guys, like I said, this person, they destroyed the securities because they were a profit motivation where you were helping people without any expectation in return. You're a server or a servant. And you just give so much nature, life force, wisdom, and sensuality for free, is what I'm hearing. LOL. I also feel like you had a selfless devotion and single-minded dedication to your spirit in this matter. So a lot of you guys, this was really a solitary journey because you were a child with this person. Some of you guys spent a lot of time alone, you know, away from this person, and you know, a lot of y'all had your own sorrow. So I don't think that you have a bitter taste in your mouth about, you know, this ex, because they definitely see you as a goddess. Like, if it was about beauty or anything like that, trust me, honey, it's not. Can't nobody. You're the only 10, okay? Can't nobody really fuck with you with your body type being natural. You doing, like, you are a gift, and you, like, especially like, you didn't need a lot of plastic surgery, or your body is very natural. Like, maybe you don't wear a lot of makeup, maybe you don't wear a lot of, you know, extensions, and you know, maybe you're not into, like, you know, grand ostentatious displays of wealth, and some of them, they're very, you know, grandiose and ostentatious. And so when they got an offer to betray you for wealth, some of them, they did that, okay? And the more you grew your cognition, like, the more you resolved a dissonance here, like, I think that you just, with time, you realized that it was false, that it was not a deep and tenacious relationship just because you guys had financial security together. While you were selflessly devoted and a single-minded dedication to your spirit, you have not been at all worried about what the hell they were doing, especially because some of y'all were children with a lot of sorrow, and you've just been going around as this wounded child, perhaps, that have been, you know, on this lifelong path to learning and helping other wounded children learn and open them up to forgiveness. So this person was not interested in the nonprofit motivation. They are for profit. And so when these people, they see that there was an incentive to deviate from the nonprofit because they were because they just realized that you would not probably be getting, you know, you were giving a lot of this out for free, that it was all gifts. You were giving it for, you just give it, friend, okay? So that's really interesting. So yeah, I think that they tried to act like, some of y'all, like I was saying, they tried to act like they were dedicated to the cause, but it was really just for money, okay? Some of them, they didn't give a damn about nature versus plastic surgery. They didn't give a damn about LGBTQ. They didn't give a damn about nonprofit work. They were around because you were getting clout with your name. And they saw that there was, you know, financial security around, you guys may have built a financial security around your gift. But this person, some of them, they started to copyright their work, or they started to do something to profit off of these gifts that you were giving for free, okay? And you felt that that was an exploitation. So yeah, you know, so let's get more, friend. What is this, you know, how does this ex think and feel about you? Yeah, they were wearing a mask. What's underneath the mask? That's what's underneath the mask, friend, okay? They might send you letters, but they're shallow, superficial displays of emotion that fall short by quite the distance, especially now that you guys are, your cognition has developed, or you have mastered your gift. You just, I think that you just, after mastering yourself more with a single-minded dedication, through helping all these people, you've just learned so much. And especially with this ascendant energy, like the rising sign could be important. But a lot of this was about first appearances, first impressions, especially when you first got the letter of this person's offer. Remember your first impression. I think that you'll never forget your first impression about this person. Maybe they were wearing a mask, or they did something anonymous towards you. And I think that your first impression is all that you need, all the closure that you need, because you knew from the jump that this could be superficial, especially when there was already so much clout getting garnered around your name or something like that. Okay. And I think that while you may have enjoyed, your time with this person, I think that you were just a child, devoted to something, devoted to your spirit, and you may have come across their letters or their pen, or something with their pen or their artwork or their writing, their music, and you saw them as having a gift as well, some of them. Okay. But the toxic expectation in this matter is that they use their gifts for benevolence and to help those in need. But that's not what they were doing. They're doing this to go socialize a lot, to get a lot of networking done, to get a lot of, to social climb. And this literally, I'm hearing the opposite happened. Okay. This ex, after you discerned that they were false, or you got healthier relationships after doing so much spiritual development and helping those in need, you literally started to, you started to recollect on, you might have started to recollect on past life memories, or your first impressions, or, just like the past when you were a child with this person, and started to realize that there was something off or superficial, something that you didn't really see them fully. Okay. So I think that you never really trusted them to begin with, but you appreciated, the wisdom and, sensuality and nature that you did explore with this person. Okay. But I think that they're just really superficial projections of you and your gift. Okay. We have meditation and escapism. Some of you guys, especially with that monk, you are very highly meditated, and this person with, they see you as very meditative, and that's why your gift is so great, is what I'm hearing, is because you meditate a lot, you do a lot of yoga, you are a pure life force current. Okay. And your feminine energy is what they have been undermining, because they truly escape their responsibilities. Some of them, they do love you. This could be someone, a false person, that have been maybe a third-party interference, romantic or non-romantic, that have been used as a scapegoat, okay, in this situation. And so you realize that if they were so easily, I think when you realize that if they were so easily distracted, or they got, they were escaping their responsibilities for a false person, I think that you truly, you return their gift, is what I'm hearing. Okay. You return their gift, because you felt violated by some type of mask that they were wearing. You felt violated by how they escaped their responsibility to engage with a false person when you were in sorrow. Some of you guys, you saw them with someone else. Okay. You saw them having emotional fulfillment with someone else, and it was a false person. Okay. It was somebody that was envious of you as well, is what I'm hearing. Okay. So some of you guys, you literally returned their gift, and you got a bigger gift, or you got a better gift, or you got a network where people loved you more, and then you faced a lot less envy, is what I'm hearing. And now I think that this ex is extremely envious of you, because while they were chasing the fame, you know, they were chasing the sex, money, and power and the fame so much that they were exploring the options, or that they were, you know, they kept trying to make excuses while it was okay to leave you in sorrow, to go explore other concepts for wealth, is what I'm hearing. Because you were giving so much for free, this was not a value that they really believed in, and so you felt violated that this was a mask that they were wearing. It's not that they don't find you to be a goddess. I think that they truly escaped their responsibility, because it's like so many people were envious of you, friend. And so it made it hard for you to engage in this network, is what I'm hearing. I also feel like they felt burdened. They felt really burdened by that, because they were really social, or, you know, they really were, they really cared about what other people thought, okay? Or they felt like they could lose their wealth by being with you, so some of them, they chose to leave you without security, or you just decided to return the security. You decided to return the gift, and they saw you get something better. I think that was a whole gag, is that they literally saw you get something better by all this abundance. Like, they were the one chasing the sex, money, and power, and the clout so much, and then you turned around and got a higher recognition than them, okay? And they see that you return the gift that they gave you, so that you can make something else great again, is what I'm hearing. Something where you can, you got a greater you got a greater security and a greater protection, so that you can give more of your gift for free, is what I'm hearing, okay? And that you became rich as fuck with a new partner, and they were just someone that helped you maturate yourself through your childhood. Some of them, they helped you with your meditation practice, or they helped you, they helped offer you financial security when you were a child, or something like that, okay? But I think this, over time, you realized that they were doing something. They were wearing a mask, okay? LOL. So let's get messages from this person, from the divine counterparts. This ex, what would they want to, say to you? We'll also get some tarot, and then we'll get a bird card, because let's see what type of bird they are, okay? Because they're definitely a bird. What does this ex think about you? Okay, some of them, they just saw you as a child, and so you guys were not intimate, is what I'm hearing. You guys were not intimate, or you were just too sorrowful to be involved with them, and them too, okay? So this was really, sometimes people with a lot of sorrow, it's not that it's not that those sorrows don't run deep. I just think that you just learned that sometimes that it's a very superficial relating about it, okay? So this person was more of a person that escaped their sorrow, where you were the one that were dedicated to healing the sorrows, okay, through meditation. So that's what I feel. LOL. What would this person want to say to you? Okay, your ex. Some of you guys, you may have shared, you may have been really intimate, okay? They saw you as a goddess, but I think that all the gifts and all the sensual experiences that you had were not enough to share a mutual dream with this person. They were just attracted to you for your body and your sensuality and your clout, okay? But you were not a superficial person, okay? So that was a toxic expectation. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to find true love, so they escaped the responsibility, okay? I can no longer hold my feelings back. Some of you guys, I think that, yeah, I loved you before you loved me, especially if you were a child. This person was not expecting to find true love, because they've been so sorrowful about a false person in their life. So some of you guys, you might have felt violated, but I think that they were truly violating, okay? They were truly violated. So some of y'all, this could happen a lot. If you are struggling with a third party where the third party is older than you, a third party is the mother of their children or their ex or something like that, you do not have the full, you don't have all the information about this false person. We know that their ex is false, but they might have, they're your ex now, is what I'm hearing, because they could not stop escaping this responsibility of you because of their own sorrow. Okay. I think that you met this person when you were a child, and I think that it was a true love, okay? Because that's what we have implied here. But, you know, this person loved you before you loved them, and so they have really been holding their feelings back a lot, okay? Watch your mouth. Please watch your mouth, because the network is already tense. And just like I was saying in the intro, we're not going to be earing on those negative spirits anymore, okay? Especially after reaching our prison milestone, because these false people actually cause a lot of sorrow. Some of you, they have been waiting on you. You've been the one with the false person, and they loved you first. So some of them have been building your security while you have been honing your gift to discern a false person. They have been waiting for you to maturate, and they see that you need to do more meditation. But some of y'all, you keep escaping. You could be the one escaping meditation practice, okay? But you won't do that no more after this video, lol, okay? Because some of them knew this is the ex. This is somebody that wants to come back, but I think that you've already moved on, especially you coming out as the child. I think that you'll forever be one with this person, but I think that you felt violated by the escapism, okay? When there was a challenge accentuated, okay? They really have held their feelings back a lot in this situation, but they have also been sorrowful about a false person. Like, what was I saying? Yeah, that's what I was going. Is that sometimes that, you know, you could be in the third party interference is also violating to you. So they come from a family violence. It's not that they're trying to intentionally hurt you. It's just that this person was truly not meditated enough, and not their gift was not home. They could also have clairvoyance as well, or be intuitive people as well. But I think that they truly had not been having the full awareness around this false person, or this could be you, okay? I think that because this situation could have ended painfully because of something when you got, you know, when you found out that there was something false going on. I don't know, it was violent, or things got violent and aggressive. And so if you've been talking your shit, it's because you literally have been getting attacked, okay? And you have the right to defend yourself. But I think that, you know, this person, the more they suppress, the angrier you got, is what I'm hearing, okay? So tell me, how does this ex feel about you? Okay, some of you guys, you just feel like they were wearing a mask, or you realize that you feel like, yeah, the Ten of Swords, things ended very painfully here because of your mouth or something like that, okay? The Judgment in the reverse, yeah, they're really filled with a lot of inner criticism, okay? They did not come out of this escapism with the Eight of Cups, okay? I think that you guys are spiritually united, but I think that the reason why they're in a drift is because they're so full of inner criticism about this painful ending with the false person, okay? This could have been a third party. If they were cheating, some of you guys, this could have been, you know, this could have been somebody that they were cheating with. But for others, this was really, I don't think that this was cheating, y'all. I just really think that this person was not fulfilling the mutual dream. Some of it was because they were a cloud chaser, social climbing, fame hungry person just looking for wealth. But I am seeing now that, you know, this could have been true love. But I think that, you know, they filled you with so much inner criticism and doubt that you left it behind because they escaped their responsibility so much. Like, I feel like you spent a lot of time alone in this relationship, or you guys, you know, you had painful separations where I definitely just feel like you try your best to be there for them, but it was like no way that they could have a constant and regular communication with you. I think that they, you know, they can't really hold their feelings back, but I think that things have kind of fizzled out between the two of you. I think that some of them, they thought that they were God, and they thought that they were your only financial security and support, and they thought that they were the only ones that would marry you, if you were so young or something like that. They thought that they this is a lot of tendency of domestic abuse, is that when they feel like you are estranged from your family, or you're lacking support, that you're lacking security, they will exploit those vulnerabilities. But they see that, while they were in a drift, or so what I'm hearing something where they feel like you are one of their options of true love. But the Eight of Cups just indicates that they're in a chronic karmic looping of escaping their responsibilities, and this was very painful. Them looping around, I'm hearing they went to go explore options, but I think that they were doing this because they really are in a karmic loop. This is not because they don't, like, some of you, they are aware of it, but they still are angry about something, holding on to resentment. But for others, this person truly is lacking with this escapism and meditation. They're truly lacking in discernment of a false person, where they keep projecting, and the defensiveness and the maybe aggression, violence or aggression could be creating painful separations in this dynamic. And I think that something was just like, something where they couldn't even do simple things, okay? Some of them, they couldn't even communicate. They couldn't even distribute something. I'm hearing something where they couldn't distribute, the power. They couldn't distribute power with other people that were trying to compete. Is what I'm hearing, especially their ex. Some of you, they couldn't distribute a power. They couldn't manage a fair distribution of power with an ex. Somebody that they needed to phase out of a commercial or something like that. And so they just started drifting around because they didn't really have the full awareness as to how this ex or how this third party has been false. But I think that the more you share your gift and hone your gift, the more you're helping to dissolve this drift. This is like a binding with a false person, where it makes it nearly impossible for them to get the truth about it. But I think that with this artificial intelligence, integration of technology, we will all be getting the truth. Okay? And I think that things really just did fizzle out because they escaped so much, and you knew that it was because they were triggered by a false person. And you're like, it's clear that I'm good, but truly, this sorrow is not something that this sorrow and psychological illness makes it unsafe for you guys to be around each other. So, they are opposite of you. While you did a lot of meditation and had a devotion to your spirit and helping other people with your sorrow, this person, withdrew from society, started wearing a mask, started escaping their responsibilities, okay? That's what I'm saying about, this person, your ex, things are definitely over. I think that but it filled you with a lot of doubt because, this person, they never showed up. And you were like, you couldn't even do this one thing for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, they couldn't even do something true for you, okay? And you felt so discouraged, is what I'm hearing. Very discouraged. So that's what I'm saying, friends. With the, they were definitely a duck, friend, not the goose. Definitely a duck, because they were just, some of them, they just wanted more options, okay? They wanted more options, and they wanted to explore, something, similar to you, something very different than you, or they were chronically exploring options because they truly have been trying to get the communication and information that they need to process and get closure from something else, okay? An ex, that's a false person or some other third party interference, where 3 was a crowd. And this false person was dangerous, engaging with you. And you're like, I gotta stay meditated, and because escapism is very unsafe. Okay? I think that in this situation, you finally got an emotional clarity, and you've, the breakup in this, you've handled it with a lot of grace. I think that you were truly just going with the flow. You were not expecting this. I feel like they just came around and started giving you gifts, okay? But when they started getting triggered, everything became gray, is what I'm hearing, okay? but I think that you really just consider them to be a part of the process, and that you find a balance in that, and you find a positive in this relationship. Even though things fizzled out between the two of you, it was just that this person, they had too much sorrow I think both of you guys may have had too much sorrow to have a good time. LOL. I think that it was a true love, and I think that they have been involved in the process of you finding true love, manifesting healthy relationships. They will not be the only person that you have true loves with. You have true love with your family. You'll have true love with your children. You'll have true love with other friends. Okay, you'll find joy and fulfillment in a lot of different relationships. And I think that that's what they taught you as you mature from a child. Okay, and get emotional clarity around false people that may have harmed you when you were a child, or in your this may have been childhood developmental trauma, some kind of shared or group collective trauma, some type of epigenetic thing, that where this really represented a psychological illness, and that was just their projection from their past trauma was the reason for why things ended. Okay, their sorrow. And I think that they ultimately filled you with sorrow as well, but I think that where they sit now, it's not that they're off anywhere having a satisfactory life or relationship. They're just in a chronic cycle of exploring false people, looking for answers where these people will never tell them the truth. You know, some of these people will never get the truth. You know, that's the common hardship. That's the heart of the matter, right? If you can solve corruption in this situation, and that can save a lot of people's minds and hearts, that will resolve a lot of dissonance, that'll literally cure psychological illnesses that have been created from past relationship trauma, where they never got the information that they need to, where there was grief, loss, trauma, to fully process the ending, why it ended, and get a psychological closure so that they can move on. So this person, it was true, but the emotional clarity that you have, you know, now is 2020, is in hindsight is 2020. Things were painful because they just kept drifting and escaping their responsibility, and it's because they were too triggered by they had PTSD, friend, and so they kept going round and round and round, looking for friends, looking for true love, and they were all false. Okay, LOL. But the gag is, you know, while they escaped their, like I said, you both, it was like something where you guys met each other, they loved you first, but they were opposite tendency, opposite lifestyle and values as you. They really escaped their responsibility and grew complacent in their life and just decided to dwell in their sorrow, where you manifested healthy relationships, started helping those in need, getting help from other people that saw that you were in need, stay dedicated, meditated, and embrace wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. And so you have a greater gift and a greater purpose, especially if I think that what you learned, I think that you felt violated in this situation, is because, like, it's not that they don't have sorrow, and it's not that it's not true love, but I think that the good outcome is that it is true love. But I think that their intentions, or something where you learned about a violation or some kind of mask that they were wearing, it could have literally just been a social mask, a mask that they were happy, that they were okay, and then you learned that things were not okay. And so this person was truly just not ready for a relationship, especially if they did not have all the information, after a grief or traumatic experience from something else that didn't have anything to do with you. Okay, that's not fair to you. But I think that they grew complacent around healing, and you just had a lifelong learning. Okay, that's what I'm seeing, group 1. Let me know how this resonates, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hi, group 2. Welcome to your selection. So you chose Cardi B with personality. Some of y'all ex is Cardi B. LOL. Honestly, Cardi B, this could be your ex. LOL. But so something about a Scorpio, or they see that you're on path to North Node. Okay. So I think that the big difference that you can tell between a North Node person and a South Node person, like, hear me out, friends. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. LOL. If you know, you know. But I think that the biggest difference between a North Node person and a South Node person is that, like, a North Node person has a big personality. And I feel like this is somebody, this ex, they might have been at the South. But I think that some of them, they could have been older than you. They could have had health issues or something like that. And I think that you South Node people are usually like, you know, they lose financial security. They may have illness, disease, not following purpose in life. So I think that, like, this situation is where, like, this ex, I think that after you may have left a relationship, that your personality, they saw your personality more or something like that, okay? And some of you, this person bought you some shoes, or they bought you some expensive shoes, or they saw you buy some expensive shoes. And they just, like, I think they have an idea of what, like, luxury should look like. And I think that maybe they're not used to seeing, like, I don't know, okay, this could go either way, but some of you guys, you might have a very refined taste, and so when your personality burst out, yeah, when they saw your proud and performative personality, they got triggered, okay? Because some of you guys had a very refined taste, or you may have been, you know, you're a good listener, especially in your one-on-one dynamics. You're a very good listener. You may be very quiet. But some of you guys, if you are out in the public eye, you might have leadership positions. You might have fan bases. You literally have to put on this pride and performance, right? But I think that you might be very different in your one-on-one interactions with people. And so when this person might have saw you working versus, like, you know, being with you one-on-one, they were like, oh, I didn't know that you were going to be like that. I think that your personality is great, but I think that I don't know, like, this is so interesting. LOL. Let's get more. This ex, I think that, like, something about you, they had expectations about your luxury, your wealth, or your rich girl behavior, okay? Some of them, they didn't know that you were rich, okay? And I think that they found out that they didn't know that you were rich, or they didn't see your personality, because I think that this relationship may have started off sexual or sensual. I don't know if this is an ex or if this was like a situationship. Maybe this was like a fling kind of relationship, a one-night stand or something like that. But it's something when they saw your personality, I think that they really rejected major aspects of your personality. Some of you, this person, they have a lot of fond memories with you in a house, but they may, you know, where you guys were nurturing, sensitive, and caring, okay? So let's get more. Let's see what's going on. Group 2. How did your ex view you? How did your ex view you? They definitely see that you busting up and that you... Yes, okay. So let's get back into it. Group 2. Tell me, okay, how does this ex view you, okay? This person could be a water sign. This person, you could have worked with this person in the past. Maybe you used to work with this person at work or something like that. You like something where this could have been a third party at work. Someone's name starts with the letter A or K. And I think that, like, some of you, when you were around this person, I don't want to say you were afraid to talk, but some of you, they watched your personality just get so big after you left them, okay? Or they saw more of your personality after you left them, okay? Especially if you have, like, this, like I was saying, like, some of y'all at work dressed down to the nines or something like that. Some of y'all are dressed to the nine. You're sharp, friend. Okay, you're looking sharp out here. Like something where they might see you in stilettos, red bottoms, you know. They see your hair all done. They see you looking all sophisticated in your suit and tie or something like that. And your Sunday best, friend. You out here your Sunday best every day at work. And then they just were not expecting this big bubbly personality to be showing out after, like, you know, through these, like, this high fashion design or something like that. You know, so I don't know. Let's see what's, you know, how does this ex view you? We have a brief illness. I definitely feel like there was some negativity and stress around this situation with this person. Okay, definitely stress and negativity, but I think that was only for a brief moment. We have the cat. Okay, I think that this person, you know, I think that the stress and negativity did not stop you guys from being friends. I think that you're definitely still friends with this person, but I think that they have, you know, their role has reduced in a way, or something where they keep a lot of your relationship private. Okay, how does your ex view you? Group 2. We have a child. Yeah, they see you as a child friend. I think that they're slick like your ally or a friend to you. But I think that there was a period of stress, negativity, and illness where the way that you handled it, they just realized that you were a child. So some of you, if they were with an older woman or something like that, they were with somebody older, I don't think that you're mad about it. But I do think that there was something negative that could have happened with this woman, especially if like they were at work with you. You know, somebody tried to sabotage your career or tried to destroy your financial security. Okay, because you were talking to this person, or that you were, you know, because you were romantically involved with this person. Somebody tried to like kill, steal, and destroy or something like that. Okay, so I think this person, they were slick your ally or friend, a companion in a way, because they saw you as a child. I think that you may have like, I think romantically getting involved with them was actually kind of stressful because you were not mature enough to be in this relationship with this person, especially if it was at work or something like that, y'all. They may have thought you were more mature than you actually were because of the way that you was dressing down to the nines or something like that. Some of y'all were very, you know, advanced children. You know, when they saw you driving, some of you, they saw you driving a luxury car. They saw you had a high education. Maybe you had your own financial security, or you're very successful at a young age. And these were all toxic projections. And I think that they were your friend and ally. And especially now that they realized that you were immature about something. I think all this, like this stress and negativity with this person, it was because of, you know, because you were immature. Okay, some of them, you guys may have had sex, you know, and you were younger than this person, but I think that after like intimacy once or twice or a few times, I think that this person, you know, they might have been attracted to you because you could have been, like I said, this very stylish, handsome child. But I think that ultimately they started looking at you, get stressed and negative about stuff, and they were like, you're being a child or something like that, something where they were like, I can't handle you being so immature about certain things. So I think that may be the reason why the romantic relationship broke down. Okay, how is your ex viewing you? Group 2. That's interesting. Okay, they feel like, you know, they still have a special relationship with you because you were a fond child in their life or something like that. Fond young person, or somebody that they met when they were a child. Okay, so, or you both 4 children. We have storyteller. We have the monk. That's interesting because they came out in group 1 as well. And then we have the artist. Yeah, some of you guys, how they're viewing you as an exceptional ass writer, exceptional ass storyteller, an exceptional ass artist. You are everyone's art muse. Okay, and they are your ally because they benefit from your artwork. They love your art. Okay, after you guys broke up, this person may have inspired a lot of your art as well, but I think that in hindsight you realize that it was so immature and just a part of the process. And, you know, telling the story about what happened and how it has really influenced you in a major way is what I'm hearing. They're like, you know, they see you as this exceptional artist that lives, that expresses, that expresses life, beyond the five senses, that imparts so much insight in a symbolic way. The way that you see life, in the way that you express your life through stories and symbols and art, you are literally an art muse, okay? Something that you created. This X, they're saying that, they inspire something that you created. And that this was like, you were a child, and I think that this stress, this brief illness was like this Vesta energy, like something that it gave you the inner spark for artistry. So this person, they may have inspired you to become an artist. Some of you guys quit the job after this, okay, because there was so much negativity in the workplace or something like that. Some of you guys quit the job, or you left, you sacrificed something big in this situation, okay, and moved on with your life, okay. Some of y'all, you said you sacrificed something big and moved on with your life. It's like they watched you create something big and then leave it all behind, okay. So this is like, a lot of people are in an uproar about you because you were this child that created something big. I think that there is still potential here, okay, for this creation that this creation that you had with this person. And I think that they just inspire you to become an artist, or they were just in the initial stages, and some of you literally it was a huge imprinting on your personality, even of who you are today. But I really don't think that there's any romantic feelings there with you, but I do think that you guys are still friends because of how this person played a big role in your creation, okay, and what you've created, something like that, okay. Yeah, there was a conflict at work or about your artwork, okay, and this person, I think that the potential, in this situation requires you to forgive. I don't know if it's you or them, but I think that you were the one that got harmed in the situation, or you were the one that faced the illness, and they feel like it's potential for your relationship, but they feel like you have not been able to forgive, because you felt like the sacrifice was too big of a sacrifice, okay. Something with a Gemini. You felt like the sacrifice was too great. You thought it was absurd, and some of it was literally, some of them they took a sacrifice, and they started exploring a woman that was copying off of you, okay, a woman, or they started exploring other options of people that are copycats of you. And I think that made you feel weird as well. Like, it's something, if they started looking at the people who have, like, if there is identity theft in this situation, and they started to explore the identity theft, I think that really scared you, okay. So they feel like you haven't forgiven them. It's like weird because like nobody can mimic your personality or steal your identity. So if they went to go explore other options, I think that you truly felt like it was really a big conflict, where it may have made you sacrifice something, like something where they may have broke up a home, stopped communicating, stopped giving you the things that you needed, because they wanted to go explore a copycat of you, or they wanted to go explore a dupe of you, or this could even have been an older woman, where they feel like the older woman was supporting their growth more than you were, and so you were just seen as a child to them, or you both were children. And I think that you guys created something beautiful together, and there's potential, but I think that they feel like you haven't been able to forgive them for some woman that they let in your house, or some woman that they had sex with, okay. Some of them, they did have sex with this woman, or this is their ex. Some of you, they went back to their ex and tried to replace you by building up their ex. Like, some of y'all, you may have come back into the house or something like that and saw that they had replaced belongings. so that their ex could use it or something like that. And I think that when you saw that they tried to build their ex up off of your image or something like that. They tried to use, the feminine activation, what they received from you, like the creation that you made. Like, I'm hearing something where you came around and you created everything for them, right? And then they went back to their ex to try to build their ex into you. Because a big part of it was that they were struggling with age difference, and they really were struggling with the social criticism that they were receiving about your relationship, about age, or some other unconventional aspect. But I truly think that you felt like it was strange for them to go explore, for them to try to replace you. Especially if it was like a copycat of you or something like that. That's spooky as hell. There is no identity thieves around here trying to pretend like they had a contribution. The identity thieves are actually the least tolerable. That's the least toleration. Because that means that there's something fundamentally missing. Like your true spirit in essence. So if they went to go explore copycat, or they had sex with a copycat, they're saying that this woman did something deceptive because you were a child, and they may have done something womanly to act like they were more advanced or more, especially if they were receiving criticism about your relationship. I think that they just fell into a trap. But for others, if this was not their ex or some other older woman or something like that, this could have been a copycat or something else that you felt was violating to you. That caused a lot of stress and negativity. There was like a conflict. And I think how they're viewing you is they're watching you express about the situation through a lot of different stories and symbols. Like some of you, this was like the beginning of your art career. But for others, this could literally be one of your ex-partners, a karmic partner that have inspired your art as well, okay? Some of you, they have a conflict with you because they see you as this big, bubbly, bright personality. Maybe you are on social media or in the press. And some of you, you could have kids. Kids could be an issue in this situation. I think that some of you guys, you may have broke things off with this person because somebody wanted kids and somebody did not, okay, or something like that. Somebody did not want kids. There was a big conflict about kids. And some of you, they kept trying to force kids onto you or something like that. You're like, those are not my kids. Those kids are going to prison. Something like that. Like something where you're like, those are not my kids. I don't want no kids copying off of me. My kids gonna have their own identity. They gonna have their own style. Ain't no twinsies. Ain't no, none of that. That's weird. Something where they tried to force you to collaborate with someone else, or they thought that, what are we collaborating about when someone's a copycat dupe of me? There's nothing to collaborate about. If there was an identity theft here and they went to go explore identity theft, they're canceled. Okay, LOL. Some of you, they turned around and realized their mistake, and they were like, oh, that was a foolish risk. I shouldn't have been trying to rebuild my ex into you. I shouldn't have been looking for you and others, or something like that. And some of them, they want to turn around and try to be an ally or to try to find a positive outcome in the matter, and they feel like you just will not forgive them because of it. I think that when they did this, especially if you're an artist, some of you guys are starving artists or you're really broke, okay? And so if they left to go explore other options and went back to their ex, and they left you as a starving artist because of a conflict that they couldn't surpass, I think that you truly think that the conflict was out of control and that you didn't really like them after the conflict, is what I'm hearing. Something where you didn't really like them after the conflict, especially when you realize that they tried to copycat you or they tried to replace you or something like that. Something where they tried to copycat you and you're like, the identity thief is totally scratched off. That's weird as hell. That's spooky. Trying to mimic somebody's spirit and soul and personality. So, it's something where you had a problem with this person's child, or they wanted you to collaborate with other children. Something where they wanted you to share something, okay? And you're like, I'm an artist, and there's no sharing my artwork. there's no sharing the artwork. There's no co-emperor. There's no co-founder. There's no sharing my artwork. So that's weird. That's because the reason why it's weird is because they're not a star if they need to share somebody else's artwork. so that means that they're dry. That means they don't have their own inspiration. And I just think that truly this is just not a good fit. It was just not a good fit because especially like you're a single-minded dedication to your spirit. So you're the art muse. You're what everybody's inspired around. You're what everything was created around you. You're everyone's art muse. But you don't need to they might need to work with you a lot. They need to collaborate with you a lot with your artwork to find their own expression and to find their own method for doing things. But you are you're like these kids' teachers or something like that, and you don't look to anybody else to inspire your artwork. Unfortunately, or fortunately, great fortunately, right? That you don't, it's weird that I don't have to work with anybody else. Okay. Group 2. You have a single-minded dedication, which means that it's a solo act. It's a solitary inspiration. They see you as this artist that where everything was created around you, and so everyone around you wants you to stay and collaborate and work together and express about your artwork. And I just totally think that the more people try to force themselves into your single-minded dedication, which is a solitary act and solitary artwork, the more you're not interested in it. Okay, there's been a big conflict with these kids and other people who have watched what has been created from your artwork. There's so many people that are dependent on you. Like I said, they might need to come around and collaborate with you a lot for art, but you don't need them to collaborate. They were not the people that you really learned from, studied with, especially if they're other children. They were not at all impressive. And when your siren went off, when they saw your artwork become established way before you knew them, then it was insightful. It reflected your devoted spirit. It was a high spiritual conviction, which is a big component, which is a big characteristic of a siren, is that you will have a strong spiritual conviction. So of course you are the rock that everybody builds upon. You are the creation energy with the solar eclipse. Your artwork quite literally gave bitches a knockout. Your artwork quite literally is renowned. Some of y'all, you're really renowned about your art, okay? But I think that they found you at your potential. And so a lot of people started to collaborate with your art. And when you were a child or something like that, and they want you to what was I saying? I just feel like they kind of want to force you into dynamics with people who just copy your art, or people who just use you a lot for as their art muse, and you're just like, I don't need to work with anybody else to be inspired for art. And a lot of people have also you've had the spiritual conviction, and I think that's why everybody is so dependent on you, is because nothing would have taken form for them if it had not been for your creation. It's like all these people around are sitting around conflicting with you, but everything that is in their environment was created about you, okay? So I think that that's what makes the relationships have potential, is because you created everything for them, but you don't need to collaborate with them to create. They need to collaborate with you. And that's the end of the negotiation, is that there is no collaboration. Forcing people to work together that are not a good fit. I'm not working with you on anything. That's so weird. Why are they keep trying to make you find a peace with people who have been chronically conflicting with you? And especially if they're projecting your art, they really just don't show us that they have their own identity. So there's no identity thief that I need to collaborate with. I only talk to people who have their own identity, because why would I need to collaborate with someone who is just a reflection of me? That's not what I need. I need someone who's them, right? Showing me more of myself and copying what I do as a redundancy doesn't add value. And some of them, they had an illness with a copycat, like something where they felt so burdened by this person's lack. I'm hearing that this really felt like a scarcity trauma. They felt really burdened by this person's loss and grief and lack, that they didn't have artwork, or that they didn't have a man or something like that. They didn't really have a story to tell. So everything, like some of you guys, like they started to, if you started to express about sexuality issues, they came in and started expressing about sexuality issues. If you started expressing about a mental illness, suddenly they had the same challenges with the same mental illness. You show up with the outfit, they keep showing up with the same things. That's not adding value. That's a redundancy where it's turned into, like some of it turned into a competition with another child, but they didn't have any personality. So your personality is being really highlighted to this person, and they're watching you tell this story of a copycat that that like, I don't know, something where there was a big conflict with this ex, because of a copycat in the environment that they felt burdened around, okay? And this was like an ancestral patterning. This could have even been incest in the family, like sleeping with your sister or your cousin or someone in the family. There was like an incest or something like that with the brief illness, or there was like some other like burden that was created in this, with the conflict, okay? I forgot what I was saying, but let's pull some channel messages and see what this person would want to say to you, because we know that they're your ex. So we know that, like, if they went to like something, if they went to go have, if they created a stress and negativity around somebody that was copying you, this person did not, like, it was so, I think that you guys so scared and left because they, like, that's a spirit, that's a siphoning. Like some of you, if they were having sex with somebody else that was copying you, they were really trying to steal creativity. They were trying to steal masculine influence. They were trying to catch the underwood or something like that. They were trying to be a third party because they don't have their own identity. They don't have their own network. They don't have their own group. They don't have their own art. Everything that they created for themselves was about you. And so I think that like if they keep showing up mirroring everything that you do, that's not adding value to you. That's literally a hidden motivation to try to steal masculine influence. And they literally just have not had a story to tell. Like, especially if they keep telling your story, like, oh, I resonate deeply with your story. Now that we found out that some of them have been committing crimes, we know that it's not a true resonating of the story. You're not actually a believer of the cause. You're not actually struck. Like some of them were really lying about a mental illness or a sexuality issue, and this really got them canceled too, okay? So some of you guys, this ex, how they're viewing you, they see that you made peace with this conflict, and you know that you created everything here. And so some of y'all, they see that you ghosted, okay, or you're leaving the network or something like that. You're leaving the network because they keep trying to audio and video surveillance you, because your art is so, they know that you have a spiritual conviction to your art, so they just keep coming around, lingering around to see what you will create next, so they can keep siphoning the energy. Like if they had sex with a copycat dupe, you felt like that was incest, or your family member or something like that, you felt like that was incest, or you felt like it was some weird rejection of your personality to go explore an option of a dupe or someone that clearly cannot tell their own story. someone who's codependent on you, but they literally just see them. They were like, oh, they were just a child, and that you've been having big issues about like with children, something where you don't want to be around their children or something like that. Y'all left you might have left the relationship because you didn't want to deal with those kids. And even their like unauthorized kids and stuff, like it's something where they just felt like they had to be a parental figure to a lot of people. Some of it was not about sex, but it was a stress and negativity where they have been trying to force you to collaborate with other people or force you to have kids or something like that. And you're just like, I'm single. I don't want no kids and I don't want no man. Some of y'all really don't want marriage or something like that. And all you do is tell your stories, express, okay? I think y'all still cool, but I think that this just helped you realize more and more that you don't want, that you might want to stay single. But I also think that it had highlighted a karmic challenge that you've been having in your relationships, especially with the scarcity trauma. If you're black and they keep, you keep finding out that they're with your sister or with your best friend or something like that, that is like incest. Or it's like, you keep meeting a cheater or something like that. This is like a karmic challenge of a cheater, a karmic challenge of like needing of the masculine, feeling burdened by someone else's lack, so they feel like they need to go share the wealth or something like that. Okay, something where they feel like they need to share, or that y'all need to collaborate or something like that. You're like, something where you might have even told them, I'm nothing like these people. So like they keep forcing you into like dynamics with people who copy you. And that's so strange, because you're just like, I don't want to be like, the last thing that you should be around is somebody that's copying you. Okay, because like that means that they don't have their own story to tell, and that they don't have a mutual dream. They're just copying. Okay, they're codependent and coming around with a hidden motivation. Like, it was really a conflict is what I'm hearing. Okay, about your identity. And so like this is like a lot of y'all, especially if y'all black, this feels like incest or something like that, or something strange that happened, a family violence, someone that's close to the relationship or something like that, where it might have been infidelity, or it might have been some other stress and negativity with a scarcity trauma or incest, or like some other conflict about you and your artwork. And they just felt so bad because these people were lacking glamour, lacking artwork, needing you for something. Like, oh, they need you. Like, that's not my fucking kids. I don't have no kids. Don't nobody need me but me. I don't have no motherfucking kids. That means I don't have no dependents on my tax return. Grok. Something where they keep saying that people need you or something like that because you created everything. And I think that some of y'all are about to leave the whole entire network, because there are a lot of people that are codependent on you to create. And you're like, you feel like that's identity theft. And they're like, oh, that's collaborating. And you're like, I don't look to anybody else for my art. Okay, it's either that I'm honoring them for their art, or I have my own inspiration. Okay, does that make sense? So that was weird. Okay, so I think that they're saying the conflict. I think that that was a conflict in the nature of it. But I think that they're saying that there's potential for your relationship, but they feel like you won't forgive them for this stress and negativity that they created around some copycat, or some it could have even been an older woman like something that they were doing to explore or indulge at your expense. And you're just like, you thought that the identity thieves were weird. Okay, stay away from the identity thieves and anybody that tried to validate their existence. Okay, yeah, I'm out exploring my options. Yeah, I think that they feel like it's potential in the relationship, but like I said, they went to go explore options of the dupes or people who create around you. Yeah, I tried to replace you. Yeah, what did I say? Yeah, so they said they feel like because you're a star, a lot of y'all, your big personality, they couldn't handle the heat, so they have to stay out of the kitchen, y'all. So like, if they went to go explore options and try to replace you with people who just create around you, that means that they couldn't handle the personality. Okay, LOL. Okay, and I think that You know, this conflict, you know, it could have been just like that. A conflict made them go explore their options. They definitely see you as a star. Like I said, you're a star renowned as artists. And so they definitely come around you and enjoy your art and, you know, delight in the arts. But I think that they went to go explore less intimidating versions of you, okay? Copycats, which is like it's an identity thief as well, okay? They're saying that it's not over between the two of you, but I think that, you know, I think that they're waiting, you know, they're waiting for you to forgive them for something, for a conflict that they created with these other, by exploring options like I was getting before. And some of you guys, you will, because I think that ultimately you really just have been wanting to be alone anyway. And so if they're out exploring options, I think that you just see it as time for you to focus intently on your inner life, okay? You know, that's interesting. Who is this person? Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo energy, Scorpio energy. But if they've been exploring their options for a long time, just call it out. Call it quits, okay? It is over, okay? It's over because you said it's over. Can't nobody come in and out, okay? Can't nobody come in and out. Once you out, that's a safety instruction at Divas Can Manifest org. No exes can come back, okay? If you're a star, getting high honors and a great fortune for your storytelling and your artwork, there's nobody else that can steal your identity. There's nobody else that can tell this story or create this art. So if they're trying to replace you, they are looking for something totally different, okay? And you're a star, so, you know, it's dangerous for them to try to come back around, you know, after you have already, you've left the relationships, adapted, and, you know, some of you, they didn't know you were a star, and then they found out that you were a star after the fact. And so if that's especially a big no at Divas Can Manifest. If they did not know you were a star before, and they started exploring options to replace you, and now that they know that you are a star, what does that sound like? A snarky opportunist. Some of you guys, this person's name is Brian, Richard, or Greg, or Jerry, or Garrett, okay? An Aquarius energy, something where you met these people when you were a child, or there's been a long separation here. Just call it quits, okay? Because I think that they keep coming around to view your performance, so that makes them a fan. And they try to replace you with something less fortunate. Yeah, the Three of Cups. Yeah, they try to replace because they fell into a petty gossip is what I'm hearing, okay? Petty gossip about you. And the Page of Wands, they went to go explore somebody who projected you, okay? You know, I think that they were stable in their explorations. I don't think that any of them moved forward, but I think that something where something where the mirror cracked is what I'm hearing. Something where the mirror cracked, and I think that it's over for you, okay? It's like when they finally saw the mirror reflection. I don't know what that means. When they saw the mirror reflection here with this Page of Wands, this Page of Swords reversed, and the Three of Cups, this feels like they went to go try, they explore options, and 3 was a crowd, okay? They were exploring options, and they started projecting, and they started getting defensive. And some of you guys, you might have been checking their cards or something like that, and you saw that they were like the 7 of Wands, or the 10 of Swords, and the 3 of Swords, and the 5 of Pentacles and shit. Like, if you saw that they were, you know, out abandoning a relationship, these third parties or these explorations have had a negative impact on your relationship. So these are not explorations where they go and actually get any, you know, any useful information. These explorations that they try to replace you were resentment and a projection of you. With the Page of Wands, these were projections of the conflict that you've been having in your relationship. And they have really, some of them, they really have been having a problem with your personality, your expression. But you are a star, so there are plenty of people who don't have a problem with it. There are plenty of people who love your storytelling, who love your artistry, who are dedicated to you just as you are dedicated to your artwork. And so If they tried to replace you, it was because of a conflict that you were having personally, and they projected and did not hold themselves accountable for a conflict that you guys were having in the relationship. Instead, they projected that onto someone that was copying you, and they feel like you will not forgive them for creating this gossip and stress and negativity after it was already a sensitive matter, of you being, of you in a, like, in this vulnerable position as this artist. Some of you guys are starting artists, or you're very pious and religious. You don't make a lot of money or something like that. They already knew that you were in a vulnerable position. And so when they tried to replace you, or they started exploring options, this deepened the conflict. There was an escalation of the conflict. And they think that they can keep coming around to explore with you, because they're saying that it's not over between the two of us. But I think that, like, when they go explore options, their relationship truly loses value. There's degradation, because the more they go explore, the more you realize that this is not a time that they're not focused and dedicated to the relationship, that they're not urgently addressing the situation, that they don't care about your conditions. That just makes you feel like, I think that, you just don't see them as nurturing, sensitive, and caring, okay? And so you definitely should stay away from them, especially if they went to go try to find comfort in someone that was envious and projecting you. If they went to someone that was projecting you, they became ill by this person's projection, okay? This toxic projection literally made them physically ill or mentally ill. And so you got away from them, is what I'm hearing. They want you to know that some of them, they want to go explore options to go see how they can resolve a conflict about your unconventional relationship. But like I said, some of y'all, you're already done, okay? And they feel like you just won't forgive them. But I think that you have found peace. I just don't think that they need to return to your life after, like I said, this is for safety instructions. Can't nobody come in and out, especially after realizing that you're a star, okay? A lot of people are going to project your image because you're a star. Does that make them a star? No. Does that make them people that are qualified to work here? No. So you play yourself, okay? Getting caught up, I'm hearing something where they got caught up in a petty gossip and it caused a conflict, and they went to go try to replace, okay? And you're just like, yeah, that's dead, it's dry, okay? If they're exploring other options, that means that they don't have good communication. They don't have a nice personality themselves, okay? So they just sit there and watch your personality and performance and see how they can go find that in a weaker and less fortunate person. But that's really a mental illness, and they'll never be happy. That just means that they suck and they're a bird too, okay? So tell me about this Kingfisher energy, okay? Kingfisher. Yeah, something where you were clairvoyant about them and going to explore options. Like I said, you might have checked their tarot cards or something like that, and you saw that what they were saying, what they were showing on the outside did not match, it did not match their energy. Their energy was, and the energy doesn't lie, okay? So I think that a lot of them, they're going to, I think that they tried to replace. I think that ultimately their intention was to replace you, okay? Because some of them, you are a star, and they don't want this conflict to be exposed. And they know that the more fame and recognition that you get, the more you will reveal their conflict and disillusion them. Some of them, they're just going to look for communication, but I think that they have really failed to make bold and decisive actions, okay? I think that, exploring these options have been helpful in helping them look at the situation, look at the conflict from different angles. But I think that, the conflict was really about a difference in the beliefs that you hold true about yourself and the place that you have within the world. And I think that you have introduced this person to beliefs, are anchoring this person to a belief that is fundamentally shifting their understanding of their reality, and is also a questioning of their reality and what they perceive as real. So these projections are their mental illness, or quite literally a brief, like a stark realization that makes them ill. Maybe they literally got ill from a projection with the petty gossip, or you have literally just expanded this person into a greater fundamental reality that lies beyond. But I think that the insensitivity and the violation and the lack of care for your sensitive situation, where they got connected to a more fundamental reality that lies beyond, and start trying to look to see if there was some more fundamental reality from people who were copying you. You're not going to access any more truth when they're codependent on me for clarity, when they're codependent on me for communication, when they need to learn how to pamper themselves, when they need to learn what beautiful things to invite into their life, when they need to know something for certainty or truth, or having an absolution in a matter, when it's something where you represent all the knowledge and the bold storytelling and artwork, and they thought that they could go access a more fundamental reality from someone else when they're just copycats and dupes. That means that they're not accessing the fundamental knowledge. They're not evolving. They're not getting a higher learning. They're not having their own experiences. But I think their intention is to look at this conflict from different angles, because especially with people projecting you, they're not going to find higher truth there. They're just going to keep finding you in lesser and weaker misfortune versions. Okay, that's so weird. And I think that that's why you have not been receptive to them. And so that's also why they could be trying to replace you, is because they know that things have just fizzled out. Okay, because they were too dry, didn't have personality or something like that. LOL. Thank you so much, pal 2. Let me know how that resonates, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Hi, group 3. Welcome to your selection. So you have Foxy Brown with attitude. What happened? Because this ex see that you're foxy as hell, okay? Some of y'all were on Fox News in this bitch, okay? You all over Fox News, actually, because you the foxiest of them all, friend, okay? But, people, these exes, they see that they're your ex because of a bias, or something that was nonsensical, okay? These people, I know you're looking back and you're just like, I wish I would not even have wasted my time on your dumb ass. Because these people, it's their mindset that disgusts you. It's like something where you started to get the ick or something like that. But I think that this ex, they feel like whatever happened, they did something shrewd, okay? They did something shrewd in this connection, and I think that you turned around and gave them the worst attitude they have ever seen in their life, okay? I'm not gonna say shrewd, but I think that it was like, you may have thought it was quite the opposite of shrewd. You may have thought that it was, I don't know, like, what's the opposite of shrewd? I don't know. I think that you were the one that possibly could have been shrewd, because I feel like you've been calculating the whole time, okay, friends? So you really have pushed this person into a corner. Like, if you do business with this person, this person has been trying to, like, they're like a con artist or something like that, because of a bias or a mindset. And this person, they were arrogant. Like, it's like they're arrogant, or they thought that they had the absolute power in a situation, and their point of view was not making sense, and you just were like, you don't make sense. And they see that you ripped them apart in a negotiation. They thought that they were absolute power, or they thought that they had the advantage. They thought that they had the advantage because they are richer, or they feel like your conventional warfare you know, they feel like they have like their warfare is a lot more like, it assures, you know, more destruction than your conventional warfare. And some of them, they were very arrogant, and they see that you did not give a fuck about whatever absolute power they thought that they had, and you simultaneously emasculated them, like something where you truly, like, they felt emasculated. They felt like you do not want them anymore. I think that there's a good outcome in this situation, but I think that they felt like you really out negotiated them when you ripped apart a mindset, bias, or point of view that was illogical or nonsensical. They see that you were no bullshit in a situation, and they got very emasculated by you, and you were like, you're right, I really don't feel, you know, attracted to you, because especially if they were approaching you with a bias or a mindset or a negotiation about something, you thought that was them trying to, like, you saw them as, you know, domestic violence, or you saw them as throwing punches or something like that. You thought them as being bullies, or they were trying to do something sly, and you were like, you can't get shit past me, bitch. Like, something where they tried to do something sly, and they saw you, they really missed right in front of you. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, something where they missed something big that was right in front of you, or right in front of them. I think that you have undoubtedly, like, you undoubtedly have changed this person's life, but especially when they started to show a bias, or they had a nonsensical point of view, or they went to go explore options, something that they did something that you thought it made them look like a big lame because it was something that was right in front of them. Okay. And so they see that you got the worst attitude they ever seen, and this really, they were like, wait, like, it's like you showed even more conceitedness, and also simultaneously emasculating them by ripping apart their bias, mindset, or point of view that was unethical or nonsensical. Okay. And you were like, it's like you were looking at them like you're a little piece of shit, like something where you started to, like, you might have started to diss them, you might have started throwing punches back, or just bringing them a self-awareness, and seeing their arrogance made you feel weird, like something where they were arrogant, and you're like, that was very arrogant, and it showed that you were very aware of what was going on, where they thought that they had the advantage, they thought they had the upper hand. You showed them that you were very aware of what was going on, and that they had no advantage, truly. Okay? You don't give a fuck how much money you got, bitch. Ain't no advantage. If you had the advantage, you wouldn't have made it this far. Okay? Yeah, I think that this is a good outcome. I think that, you know, you emasculated them, but I think that you still cared about each other. Okay? I think that the good outcome is that, you know, it is true love, it is true friendship. Okay? Because some of them, this was about, you know, there was somebody false in the environment, friend. It was somebody at the get together or something like that. Okay? That this person was a dog or something like that at the get together. There's somebody who's been violating on the ship or at the get together, but they see that this was all about, like, they see that you know, this could have been about them, or this could have been about something where you ripped apart this false person, you put them in a coman, not a coman, maybe a coman. Is that like a coma and an omen at the same time? A coman? LOL. I'm hollering. LOL. You put this false person. It's like something where people kept showing a bias towards the false person that was stopping them from seeing the true colors. Okay? And you're like, they were doing this. You know, I think it's hilarious because I think that you brought this person, like, I think that they were being arrogant about something because they thought they had a greater money or greater technology or greater authority. They thought that they were, you know, they thought their point of view was right, but then you pointed out some fatal miscalculations where they were making fallacies, and this emasculated them. And it helped them. But I think that where you guys found peaceful resolution is that this actually, when something where you revealed a bias, a point of view, or a mindset that was a fallacy with this person, And I think that this is ultimately a good thing, but I think that this helped them discern a false person that has been in their camp, okay? Like the mother of their children or somebody else that has been around them that have been deceptive. And they're like, wait, like I was feeling emasculated, but now I feel liberated. Like I was feeling emasculated, but now I feel liberated. Thank you for bringing me that awareness, because you know this false person was fucking me up. Some of y'all, this false person was fucking him up, and they kept coming around you like, ha 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 ha, oh bias, oh point of view, oh woke mindset, lol. And you're just like, but look what happened. And they felt emasculated because you had a stronger keen awareness, friend. You were more shrewd than they were. Okay, they thought they were shrewd, bitch. I'm the shrewd one, lol. Okay, we have the Messiah. Yeah, I think that especially with the shadow aspect, it came out in the light aspect, but with the shadow aspect of the Messiah, this person, they were arrogant, like something where an exaggerated belief that you are the only means through which a cause can succeed, like something where they kept asserting their bias, or they kept asserting their mindset and point of view, and they thought that you needed them. Okay, this is like something where their beliefs were wrong with this exaggerated belief with the Messiah, and you were off serving humanity with humility, and something where you proved to be the humble authority in a situation by debunking or ripping apart this bias and mindset that where the beliefs were false. So the premise of the reasoning statements were false. Okay, and so you were like, wait, but let's start with the premise. Let's start. And they felt so emasculated by this. Okay, but I think that it just really, like, they were, you know, I don't think that you were trying to emasculate them, but I think that you did get an attitude by their arrogance, like something where they kept arrogantly asserting a bias, a mindset, or a point of view, and you're just like, those beliefs are false. And they knew they could no longer deny the facts of reality, because something that you did brought them, it unlocked something important about a false person that have been around them, that have been harming them. Okay, yeah, you the Midas touch. You don't need them. They thought that they thought they were starting to get arrogant, thought that they were the big bad wolf in this bitch, right? But then you did something as a Midas, and they were like, I cannot deny the entrepreneur and creative ability. And some of them, they fell in love with you. You know, they're coming back. They literally fell in love with you, with, you know, with your humble authority. Like, you let people know that you have the spiritual authority in a matter, and although you might be in a humble position, this was true love, because I think that, like, this emasculation just made you, it was really a boost in your confidence. Like, I think that you still really, like, they might have felt emasculated, like, oh my god, who is that little person, that humble authority, fixing my belief or something like that, or debunking my bias. And you did it with the entrepreneur and creative ability that turned into gold. And it helped. The gold was that they were able to discern this false person, and it could have brought them unexpected money at court, where they finally were able to settle a trial with a false person at court and got unexpected money, is what I'm hearing. But for others, like, and they were like, wow, you did this all out of a humble authority, and I showed up with the arrogance. And so they really did humble themselves in this situation, because they realized that somebody false was hurting them. And this is why their beliefs were tainted in the first place, is because they were getting hurt by a false person. Okay, some of you, they feel like you are this exceptional artist, and that you make excuses as to why it's okay to hurt people, and you know why it's okay to have an attitude, like something where they really have an attitude about, they have a problem with your attitude. But I think that you have been on this ship with this false person for a long time, and you really fucking tired. So if they came around talking some bullshit point of view mindset or something like that, baby, you was like, I might be humble, but I ain't wrong. And so when you really proved it, you proved to be right in a situation. Grok, this is true. LOL. But they're saying that you have this talent, and that although you are true, that still is not an excuse to hurt people. Okay? But I think that you really just have been hurting this false person. Okay? LOL, the first house. Yeah, I think that they were showing a bias towards your body. Okay, they had a bias about your body or your racial group, and they might claim that they're, they try to approach racial problems or concepts of individualism in society, especially if they're in a political sphere. They try to approach these topics with a lot of intellect, right? And you're just like, and they thought that because they had so much intelligence, or they had like this comprehensive review of all knowledge, that they were right? But how you emasculated them was that they thought that they had this knowledge and absolutism. But it's like something where you revealed that they were showing a bias about your body. So those are not true statements, okay? LOL. So that was what happened. But I think that once that also helped you, that it was, they might have been projecting an intimidation about your beauty and body. Like if you watch Pal 1 from the last video, the gossip from yesterday, then I think that, they really have had a problem. They've been biased against you because you've had a privilege of a nice body or beauty. And that's where they were making those fatal ethical miscalculations, where they kept trying to justify some behavior because of your beauty and body. You're like, stop using, like, for actually, this could go, the shadow aspect of the artist could actually go in another direction as well. Like, people, because you are this exceptional artist or have this body and beauty, people try to make it okay to mistreat you, okay? So, and so this, like, helping them address the bias or a mindset that had an outmoded belief or a negative thought pattern or something that literally was not true, helped this person feel more connected to themselves. It helped them, they were really escaping a body image issue, a sexuality issue, or something else that have been making them deny facts of reality and have been altering their perception and impacting what beliefs they're anchored to. So they have been anchored to beliefs that have been false or have been distorted in a way because of bias and their own traumatic experiences. But they really, I think that you showed them that they were escaping their sorrow or escaping their own personal issues, and that this was all a projection, and using your talent and body and entrepreneur and creative ability as an excuse to mistreat you, okay? That's how they're viewing you, group 3. Oh, well, they see that you guys have a good outcome because you successfully discerned the false person, okay? But I think that they were arrogant in this initial pursuit, but you humbly annihilated them single-handedly. You don't need to collaborate, especially when they thought that they were the only means that it was the last man on earth, friend. And they thought that, if they thought that you needed to collaborate with them, they were very wrong, okay? So now they see you got an attitude because they know that you got your own shit. You think you own, bitch, okay? If you know, you know, okay? LOL. So tell me about what this person wants to say to you, okay? I think that they definitely could have a love-hate relationship with you because you emasculated them, but it was something that they needed for healing, okay? I think that you put them on the right path because they were really getting fucked up by a false person, and they, because of bias and a point of view that was wrong or fallacies, they have not been able to anchor to a belief about a false person that have been harming them, okay? And that was really them escaping the sorrow. That's okay. I'm not gonna say it's okay, but it can happen, and it's hard, okay? They have not been well either, but I think that they have been growing arrogant and growing self-aggrandizing and getting in exaggerated beliefs even, and that was their way of escaping their body image issues or rejection and abandonment from a false person, okay? Something where you made them look in the mirror, okay? Especially because you knew that they were projecting onto your body, presence, and self. So yeah, Tell me about, what this person, this ex, wants to say to you. LOL. Okay. Expecting unexpected. Always expecting unexpected. Okay, yeah, I need you now. What's unexpected that could be happening? Okay, what's unexpected that could be happening? You guys renew. You thought that this was your ex. They need you now, so you can't renew. Okay, you can't leave them, is what I'm hearing. But I think that some of you, you needed to wait until this false person grew more despondent, okay? Because this person escapes their grim reality. They feel very rejected and abandoned, and they really need you after you help them clear a bias and point of view that they were holding, exaggerated beliefs that they were holding to hide a body image issue. Yeah, I have a poor self-image. Yeah, they were projecting because they have a poor self-image. Okay. Yeah, struggling to release the false person because they can't see, they're on this journey to releasing this false person. Yeah, I loved you before you loved me. I don't think that they're, they could not be romantically involved with, this false person. This is their ex, or this is somebody that's been harming them, that keeps triggering them, y'all. Okay, so this person they love you. It is true love. So that means that you guys are in wish fulfillment energy. But this person has been struggling to release a third party that they were with when they had a really, really poor self-image. So being with you and your attitude and your beauty and your body is very triggering. So they can't be with you right now. Okay, yeah, the woman, the ex. Yeah, this is the third party. So I think that this third party, this woman is degrading because they're false and they're growing despondent. They can no longer keep these facades up. This person needs you to heal. And I think that they're really dependent on you. It's not over. This person, it's not over. It's just that they've been dealing with this false person that's been triggering them. Okay, they don't feel good to be themselves either. So they need you to love them, while they, struggle for a little bit. And I think that this is the true love and this is the good outcome, is because you did not leave them. And they were sitting up with all this bias and, and all this aggression. Something like where they really were, something where they might have been saying no at first, or they may have been arrogant. When you corrected their bias or something like that, they may have enhanced their poor self-image. Okay, LOL. But I think that what makes it better for them is that they know that you're in a humble position, so they feel like they still have controls in certain type of ways. LOL. But they're struggling to release the third party is the expectation of this third party, and they have contracts with them, and things like that. So the more, I think that you're in this spirit of creating, your presence, body and self, and artistry, and whatever serving that you're doing to humanity, you're helping this person reconnect with humanity. It's like crazy that they were showing about, like, that. I know you were like, oh, you probably got pissed off or got an attitude about the bias because you so clearly discerned their exaggerated belief and their arrogance, and where they were making fallacies, and they felt emasculated. But I think that this leveled the playing field, for one. But two, what was I going to say? They really need you. They really need you to be there for them. They were like, I loved you first, so can you love me while I struggle for a little bit? And I think that you can love them for a little bit, friend, because they need you now. And they have been in an illusion with this false person, a woman, an ex. This person has done something violating. It's not just, oh, they're just around for money. They literally might have done something violating or harmful to this person. Okay, and some of you guys were not expecting them to go back to their ex. You were not expecting them to start escaping their responsibility. But I think that's something that they do when they're fat. Something where you told them that you don't care about their body, but you let them know that they're having issues with their body image. You're like, don't be projecting onto my nice young body. It's you that's escaping the responsibility. You're just with this false person because your self-esteem is so poor, or you've been with them, you know, or something like that. Does that make sense, y'all? Okay. I think that you'll be good with this dynamic. Okay. I think that this honors you. You'll be good with this dynamic. Okay. But the unexpected aspect is where you weren't expecting this person to give you so many high honors, but I also think that you weren't expecting for them to get distracted with different illusions, or for them to escape their responsibilities, in this way. But I think that it really you emasculating them and showing them a bias or fallacy. They diminished their presence or something like that. Their presence diminished after you did this. Okay. But I think that they have to be recovering from that temporary dip in their self-image. Okay. You supporting them, you loving them during this time I think it does help them recover. Okay. So tell me about, how does this person view you? Yeah, they see that you're very detached because, like I said, you got an attitude, and you knew that they had an exaggerated belief. Yeah, all romantic, LOL, Knight of Cups. Y'all love each other. So yeah, the Ten of Pentacles, this person is here to stay. This is not your ex. But this karmic challenge that they're having is about, they need to clear their third eye chakra around their ex or some other false woman that's been in their environment. But they have been escaping these responsibilities because it hurts. Okay. Tell me about the unexpected. The unexpected is that you get high honor. That you were not expecting them to give you high honors because they probably were showing a bias about your body and presence before. And you're like, why you want to give me high honor now? And I think that the more that you unlock or unveil this mystery about this woman, where they had the expectation that was safer because of their body image issues, their cultural similarity, something else that they were projecting onto you. Maybe a true struggle around your unconventional relationship. You breaking them free from this expectation is helping them access a fundamental reality that lies beyond, where they were not expecting this woman to be false, but they were. Okay? And so they're struggling to release it because they still don't have everything that they need. And so you might see them as escaping, but this is really them getting triggered by a false person that hurt them, that they still do not have closure around. It's not that they're like, oh, I still want this woman. It's literally that this woman is, it has been an unexpected betrayal, okay? Or have been an unexpected problem, okay? But they definitely do need to go work there to go resolve, how this person has been not really receptive to them, but they have been, some of them do have this overeating problem. When they're with this woman, they overeat, or this is what they do when they feel bad about their body. And so seeing you over there with their body and stuff like that, and the attitude, they're like, okay, let me take some time. But I think that you are actually healing their body, okay? So they will, they're still, like, this King of Pentacles is someone who was, this person was super disloyal, unsupportive, unfaithful, okay? And so they could be struggling to be supportive, loyal, and faithful with you because that's the violation that they have been facing, okay? I talk about this a lot more in Power 1, I think, especially the third-party defensiveness or separations. It's literally a reversal, a regression to an ex that they have not fully resolved. So I think that you feel okay with this dynamic. You guys have hit a milestone and you're very romantic about each other, okay? This person isn't dumb, but they're not financial, they're inept in the material realm. Your relationship, they're going to give you more honor and more material structure around your relationship, and I think you're fine with them while they release this dangerous expectation that was created from this false person, this false woman, okay? I hope that makes sense. I hope I wasn't too rambly. I am, feeling a bit under the weather, but I feel a lot better. I'm still struggling with the congestion and cough that has literally lasted like 4 or 5 weeks, y'all. Okay. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know how this resonates. I love you. be safe, be okay, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.